Hi folks, we're going to be talking in this video a bit about what to expect in class this year. So in this first video we're going to look at the structure of the class, what it looks like kind of on a day-to-day basis, and what you can expect from that. So the main thing you'll be doing most days is a lesson. And a lesson will have one key skill or topic that it addresses. So we'll look at one main idea. And there's 3 ratings to each lesson: a must-do, a should-do, or an aspire-to-do. Must-dos represent the essentials. These are things that if you don't complete these lessons, you won't be able to pass the class. Should-dos are things that I expect everyone to work on, and I really expect you to complete. The general student, I would expect them to complete all of the should-dos. The aspire-to-dos are kind of extensions. I expect everyone to give them a shot, to work on them a bit while in class, but you may not necessarily finish this entirely. So to summarize that, I expect everyone to be giving all of these a shot, trying all of them, but generally speaking, if you don't finish some of the aspire-to-dos, you would be fine. Or if you're really struggling in class, maybe you and I will talk and we'll kind of pick a couple of the should-dos as well to cut back on and to give you some breathing room. So it's not that any of these are optional, but they just help us as we work through to decide how much time and effort to be devoting and kind of in what order to attack things. So in an individual lesson, you'll see the following elements. First, there'll be a video and guided notes. That's what you're doing right now. This explains the key ideas. You shouldn't expect any long kind of lecture delivery from me in the classroom. The goal behind giving you a video is you can refer back to it. Feel free to still pause in the middle of the video, ask me questions, ask me to clarify things, ask me to help you work through an example. But this way you've got instruction that's available to you at all times, and you also have the benefit of me in class being able to answer questions that you have on the video as it comes up. Usually after that there'll be some sort of practice or activity, a chance for you to try things out, apply what you've learned. That'll look different depending on the topic, depending on the class and all of that, but there'll be some sort of activity or practice. And then finally a mastery check. This is to help you and me know how you're progressing. And that'll look a little bit different depending on the specific day or the specific topic or the specific class. But you can think of them as very, very, very short quizzes that are informal and should take maybe 5 to 7 minutes. Speaking more on those mastery checks, they will be all or nothing, meaning you either get a mastery check complete, you've mastered it, or it needs to be revised. So there's no partial credit, as it were, on a mastery check. It's either complete or incomplete for each lesson. But you can reattempt it. I just ask that you spend some time practicing or revisiting before you make that attempt again. And then lastly, because these are meant to check where you're at and how you're doing, they must be done individually. And you can only use whatever references or resources I tell you you can use. There might be places where I let you do some things in groups, but I'll make that very clear. In general, these are individual. The last thing I want to talk about here is the pacing of the class. And so in general, you should be working at your own pace. So you don't need to worry about how quickly others are working through stuff. Some people might be a little bit faster, some people might be a little bit slower. On the main topic page for each unit, there will be a pacing tracker that will say what you've done, what you've still got to do, what's coming up, and you can kind of use that to track how you're doing. If you're not sure how that works or how to interpret that, feel free to ask. And finally, use the ratings to help you prioritize. So if you know that you've got stuff you want to try and work ahead on or stuff you need to revisit, those ratings, the must do, should do, and aspire to do, will kind of help you guide that. Again, I expect everyone to give all of the lessons a shot, whether it's a must do, a should do, or an aspire to do. but I don't necessarily expect everyone to complete all of the Aspire to-dos. And again, if you're really struggling in class, talk to me and we might pick some of the should-dos to pull back on to make sure that you are at least getting those core essential topics. So if you have any questions, do check in with me, but otherwise this is kind of what you can expect for the class. We'll go over some things in the room together to kind of help you navigate it, but this is the overview.